Wellness Rhythm Show. Find your rhythm. Live your wellness.
Y'all, let me tell you. Last month I hit a work deadline. My kids were both sick, and my mother-in-law called 3 times in one afternoon, and I just sat in my car in the driveway for 20 minutes, couldn't move. That used to never happen to me.
Right, and what's fascinating about that is it's not weakness. There is actual biology behind why stress feels categorically different as we get older. The body's stress response genuinely changes.
Which is what we're digging into today. Stress and the aging body. Why it hits harder after 50. And more importantly, what we can actually do about it.
And whether you're 50, 65, or sandwiched between teenagers and aging parents right now, this one is for you.
So let's start at the beginning, because I think most people assume stress is just stress. You feel overwhelmed, you push through, it passes, right?
Right, and that model is genuinely outdated. Here's what I've learned. The stress response is anchored in a system called the HPA axis. That's the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. It's your body's central alarm system.
Okay, translate that for those of us who are not David Park.
Fair enough. Basically, when you perceive a threat, a looming deadline, a difficult phone call, your brain signals your adrenal glands to release cortisol. Cortisol is the primary stress hormone. It's genuinely useful in the short term.
It sharpens you, gets you moving.
Exactly. The problem is what happens to that system over time. Research published in the journal Psychoneuroendocrinology and work by Dr. Sonia Lupien at the University of Montreal shows that as we age, cortisol regulation becomes less efficient.
Meaning it takes longer to come back down.
Meaning it takes longer to come back down. The off switch gets sluggish.
Here's the thing, though, that actually explains so much. Because in my 20s, I could pull an all-nighter, bounce back in a day. Now, a rough week follows me into the next week.
And that's not anecdotal, that's allostatic load, a term coined by Dr. Bruce McEwen at Rockefeller University. It refers to the cumulative wear and tear on the body from repeated stress responses over a lifetime.
So we're literally carrying our stress history in our bodies.
Essentially, yes. And after 50, the physiological cost of each stress event is measurably higher.
Let's talk about what that actually looks like, because I don't want people thinking this is abstract.
Right, let's unpack that. Chronically elevated cortisol in midlife and beyond is associated with disrupted sleep architecture. We're talking reduced deep sleep specifically. Research from the National Institute on Aging has linked it to accelerated cognitive decline, increased inflammation markers, and higher cardiovascular risk.
And for women going through perimenopause or menopause, which is a huge chunk of our audience, this is a double whammy, isn't it?
Brilliant point, Emma. Estrogen actually plays a buffering role in the stress response. Dr. Pauline Mackey at the University of Illinois has published extensively on this. When estrogen drops, that buffer is reduced, so the HPA axis becomes even more reactive.
I wish someone had told me this at 42 instead of me thinking I was just falling apart.
And men are not exempt. Testosterone also modulates stress reactivity, and it declines with age too. This is a genuinely shared challenge.
Okay, so if the audience is nodding along right now, maybe feeling a little seen, maybe a little alarmed, let's get into what we can actually do. And can I just say, if this conversation is landing for you, please hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps us reach more people who need this information.
Seconded. Right, so the good news, and there is good news, is that the research on resetting this system is actually quite robust. We're not helpless here.
Let's start with something that surprises people. Sleep isn't just about feeling rested, is it?
Not even close. Dr. Matthew Walker, neuroscientist at UC Berkeley and author of Why We Sleep, has shown that deep sleep is the primary mechanism by which the brain clears cortisol and stress-related metabolic byproducts. It literally flushes the system overnight.
So protecting your sleep is not a luxury, it's biological maintenance.
Precisely. And after 50, sleep architecture changes. Less deep sleep naturally, which is why sleep hygiene becomes more critical, not less. Consistent sleep and wake times, cool dark rooms, limiting alcohol, basic but genuinely evidence-supported.
Here's where I want to push back on something, though, because I feel like just sleep better is the thing everyone says, and it makes people feel worse when they can't manage it.
That's a fair tension. And I think the honest answer is, sleep is foundational, but it's not the only lever, which is where practices like mindfulness-based stress reduction come in.
MBSR, Dr. John Kabat-Zinn developed it at the University of Massachusetts in the 1970s, and it has been studied extensively.
Meta-analyses, including work published in JAMA Internal Medicine, show MBSR meaningfully reduces cortisol levels and inflammatory markers, particularly in adults over 50.
And here's the thing, though. It doesn't have to be an hour of meditation. Even 10 minutes of focused breath work moves the needle. The research backs that up.
It does, and movement is equally important. But let me be specific, because just exercise is not particularly useful advice.
Right, because someone's version of exercise at 65 might look completely different.
Exactly. Research from the Mayo Clinic and work by Dr. Wendy Suzuki at NYU, who studies exercise and brain health, shows that moderate aerobic exercise reduces cortisol reactivity and builds hippocampal volume, which is the brain region most vulnerable to chronic stress.
And moderate means a brisk walk counts. A swim counts. It doesn't have to be a boot camp.
30 minutes most days at a pace where you can still hold a conversation. That's the evidence-based threshold, genuinely accessible.
Let's talk about social connection for a second, because I think this one is underrated.
Hugely underrated, the late Dr. John Cacioppo at the University of Chicago spent decades studying loneliness and stress physiology. His research showed that social isolation elevates cortisol and inflammatory markers comparably to physical stressors.
And after 50, kids move out, colleagues retire, routines shift, social networks genuinely shrink for many people. That's not just emotionally hard, it's biologically costly.
Which is why maintaining or intentionally rebuilding social connection is a genuine stress management strategy, not just a nice to have.
Y'all, I want to say this plainly. Calling a friend, joining a book club, showing up to your neighbor's thing even when you don't feel like it. These are health behaviors.
Right, and one more piece worth naming. This is where I'll acknowledge that access matters. Not everyone has equal access to quiet time, good sleep environments, or safe walkable neighborhoods. The structural barriers are real.
And we see you. The goal is to find the smallest viable version of these practices that works in your actual life.
Precisely. Progress over perfection is not a cliche here. It's the evidence-based position.
Okay, if you're taking one thing from today, and I mean one, let it be this. Your stress response changes as you age, and that is biology, not failure. And the most powerful reset available to you right now is protecting your sleep like it is the most important appointment of your day. Because physiologically, it is.
Right, here's what I've learned from all of this. The body is remarkably adaptive, even after 50, even after decades of accumulated stress. The research is genuinely encouraging. Small, consistent inputs produce measurable change. We're not locked in.
Y'all, thank you so much for spending this time with us. If this episode resonated, share it with someone in your life who needed to hear it. Hit like, hit subscribe, and we will see you next week on The Wellness Rhythm Show. Take care of yourselves.
Optimistically, of course.
This show is part of the VoxCrea.ai system. If you want a show like this for your organization without building it yourself,
go to voxcrea.ai and request a sample episode.